Good afternoon, and welcome to our second annual Celebrate Your Impact event. I'm Christina Gordon. I'm the CEO of the Women's Foundation of Boston, and we are so excited to celebrate and share with all of you, our donors, our volunteers, our entire community. You have all made our tremendous growth and impact a true reality. And this is our opportunity to say thank you to you, to all of you, and show you your dollars and your volunteer work in action. So basically the objective of this event is to highlight to all of you the results of your steadfast commitment and support of the Women's Foundation of Boston over the years. I am so thrilled that we have many of our fantastic donors and volunteers with us today, including our incredible board members, our amazing volunteers, our awesome advisory council members. I'd also like to make a special thank you and shout out to the co-chairs of this event, Joan Gallant, Jill Roberts, and Marianne Cook, who've been very involved with the Women's Foundation of Boston since our early days and have worn many, many hats, including this important one. So thank you to all of them for making this happen. FYI, we are recording this so we can send a copy to those that weren't able to attend. And now I'd like to briefly review our important mission and incredible impact, particularly in 2021. Today, more than ever, we are committed to our mission to economically empower Greater Boston women and girls through funding high impact leadership and economically empowering programs in partnership with nonprofits that solely serve women and girls. Your generous donations have fueled our steep growth, which really has been dramatic. I am so proud and excited to announce that we impacted more than 2,300 women and girls in 2020 alone, bringing our total impact since inception to over 11,000 women and girls. So that was up 25% in 2021. 50% of our grants have been directed towards education with a heavy focus on STEM, while the remaining half have been split sort of evenly between leadership and mentoring and career and financial skills. The common thread in all our grants is the emphasis on economic empowerment. Here we show you our broad programmatic impact with heavy emphasis on STEM, which, as I mentioned, is very, very intentional. 95% of the beneficiaries of our grants are women and girls who are living beneath the poverty line in Greater Boston. We also impact a very diverse population of women and girls. I think about 82% are BIPOC, which we are very proud of this result. And now we are going to get to the meat of our program, which is where we highlight 3 of our amazing grantee partners. Please put any questions you might have in the Q&A box, because we are so grateful to have with us today the leaders to answer your questions at the end. And now let's hear from Deb Ray, CEO of Big Sisters Boston. I would like to highlight one of our truly amazing grantee partners, Big Sisters Greater Boston, today. We have had a productive, beneficial, really innovative long-term relationship with Big Sisters Greater Boston, starting with our funding, 5-year funding of their New Girls Network, a dynamic mentorship program for their big several years ago. But this year we are funding another really exciting brand new program out of Big Sisters Greater Boston. We awarded Big Sisters an impactful 3-year grant, which fully supports an additional coach for their Our Big Futures program. And I'm really excited to have here with me today, Deb Ray, President and CEO of Big Sister Greater Boston, to share more information about this impressive and powerful new program. Welcome, Deb. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Christina. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here to talk about our big futures. Yes, in Big Sister. So Big Sister is an organization that ignites the passion and power of girls through one-to-one relationships with mentors and enrichment programs like our Big Futures that help those girls succeed. And we're also invested in the women as well.
And can you tell us about the Our Big Futures program?
Girls are in the Big Sister program starting at the age of 7 all the way to the age of 20. And what we heard from them, though, in their teenage years is that they really needed support on post-secondary, right? They knew they were going to graduate from high school, but they didn't know what they were going to do after high school. So what this program does is support these girls starting at the age of 14 to really look at what they're interested in, what they're good at, and really to help them navigate the post-secondary careers and what they want to do, whether it is a career, whether it's college, and we want to help them with that.
Can you tell me how the Women's Foundation of Boston's grant helped the Our Big Futures program, and elaborate a little bit on the girls that are participating in the program, the coaches, and any anecdotal information you want to give our donors who are watching us?
Sure. So Big Sister serves about 2,000 girls a year. And again, I said that was in one-to-one mentoring programs. But this program is an enrichment program. And so they still have their mentor in many cases, but that mentor focuses on social emotional. So Our Big Futures, we have that relationship. So Our Big Futures now, we have a coach that Women's Foundation of Boston actually funded. So we have somebody who's coaching these young women, and that coach focuses on college access.
How could you characterize how the Women's Foundation of Boston has impacted Big Sisters overall, and our relationship and the overall impact the Women's Foundation of Boston has had on the Greater Boston's women and girls serving organizations and community?
To have the Women's Foundation of Boston that is very public, that you have made it a point to educate, inspire, and ensure that everybody understands the need for support for girls and women. For, like, as you say, only, less than 2% of philanthropic dollars are given to girl and women serving organizations. How critical is that? And as no matter how much we may say it as Big Sister, but having you sort of as the expert in that, and then really just casting a wide net and saying, this is not just about Big Sisters, this is all the organizations that are focused on girls and women. And we're part of that collective, we're part of that sisterhood. And really having an organization like the Women's Foundation of Boston is so critical for all of us to elevate girls and women in the city. Our Big Futures is really significant that we're now giving these girls this opportunity that they didn't have for 184 girls. Now, remember, this funding, we only started this in March of 2020 before the pandemic. And so we only started then. So it's 2 years, it's been a difficult 2 years, but yet 184 girls are part of this program. That 3 of them have gotten scholarships, that 8 have got paid internships. That's all because of the Women's Foundation of Boston. And in addition to that, New Girls Network, it's a mentoring program that we had started a few years ago, but the fact that the Women's Foundation of Boston stepped in and gave us funding for it has really solidified that program, so that so many young professionals in this city now have a seasoned professional helping them on their career path, on having access and opportunity in Boston. Because again, a lot of times it's been sort of the old boys network. There have been a lot of men in positions of power and influence that have helped each other and their sons and people they know. Well, now what we're doing is creating this New Girls Network about access and opportunity, because we know that women are change makers, and once you invest in them, you're investing in their families, and you're strengthening the community, and you're really you're creating the sisterhood that wouldn't be there otherwise. And I just feel like you have made a significant impact on Boston.
Thank you, and I can't wait to see you again.
Same here, Christina. Thank you. I really appreciate all that you do.
Great. Please welcome now Chandra Clark, who we are honored to have on the Women's Foundation of Boston Advisory Council. For the past 17 years, Chandra has served in nonprofit leadership roles, developing innovative programs and creatively cultivating opportunities for the community to support the advancement of underserved populations. And Chandra had the privilege of talking with and meeting with a little sister who participates in the Our Big Futures program.
Hi, I'm Chandra Clark, and I'm excited to interview Valeria from Big Sisters, Our Big Futures program, which is funded by the Women's Foundation of Boston. Welcome, Valeria, and thank you for joining me today. So we're excited to learn a little bit about you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and get to do this with you.
Thank you so much for your time. So we're to start with learning a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself. How old are you and where are you from?
I'm 16, I'm going on 17, and I'm a junior in high school at the Henderson Inclusion School. I'm from Boston, but originally from Honduras.
Wonderful. And how long have you been involved with Big Sisters? And what brought you to get involved?
I've been involved for 5 years now, going on this month, so that was really cool to find out. I am an only child, so my mom thought it would be a good idea to have somebody who could be my role model so that I could be guided through life and have different experiences.
Wonderful. And how has Big Sisters impacted your life?
Big Sisters impacted my life in many different ways, but I think the biggest thing was for me that was especially affecting me now because I've grown up a lot since 5 years ago. I get to have like real life conversations, such as like I'm thinking about college and like buying houses, things like that of that nature. Like having somebody who will show me those things is really important to me.
Yes, it is. So what is the best part of the program?
The best part of the program for me was having like a community engagement, especially with Junior Advisory Board. And since I took on that leadership role, I'm able to create a space for especially the voices with young women we have right now. Having vulnerability, but in a safe environment was really important to me to build. So I think that was the most impactful part for me.
And do you participate in our Big Futures program?
Yeah, I've been participating since last year of 2020. So it's since it launched.
That's wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about the program in general?
It's for 14 to 24-year-olds who want to build career and college readiness. And we have coaches in which they help us with what we specifically want to do. And they give us opportunities. Like I was an intern with Big Sister. That was like the most fun because you get impact and you got to see the insides of like matches that were made and how that goes about.
And what's the best part of the program?
The best part of the program for me was to have like new opportunities and to network because I didn't know what networking was like until working with Big Sister. So having that and building relationships with the girls was so fun because it's like people like me, like you realize that we're not alone and you realize that we're all struggling just the same. Like we want to be heard and to be heard in these spaces was really powerful for me.
That's so powerful. And the program has been helpful and impactful for you in so many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that in mind, tell us, what are your longer term plans?
I want to graduate high school as of right now, and I want to graduate college with child development degree.
Well, Valeria, you will go very far, and it's just been a pleasure to speak with you today. You are an inspiration to us all.
Wow, Valeria is so strong and confident and smart. Wow, what an incredible. I'm so glad that Chandra was able to meet with her. And now I am, and I'm thrilled that she was able to benefit from our Big Futures program that the Women's Foundation of Boston funded. And next, we are going to hear from Girls on the Run with Olivia Matthews. And now I'm excited to introduce to you all Olivia Matthews, who is the Executive Director of Girls on the Run Greater Boston. Olivia has worked in the nonprofit space for over 20 years, and she has been at Girls on the Run since 2017. I think she's amazing, and I'm just so glad to have her here with us. So welcome, Olivia.
Thank you, Christina. It's great to be here.
We have committed almost $200,000 to Girls on the Run Greater Boston since our relationship began almost 4 years ago in 2018, which is amazing. Most recently, the Women's Foundation of Boston awarded Girls on the Run Greater Boston a 3-year grant to launch this new interesting initiative called Girls on the Run in the City, which is designed to expand Girls on the Run's proven after-school program to reach really more high-need girls who live in the city of Boston. So I'm going to have Olivia tell you more about it. So Olivia, can you tell us more about just the general mission of the Girls on the Run?
Technically, our mission is to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident using a fun, experience-based curriculum that creatively integrates running. And the reason it was created is because girls' self-confidence and physical activity levels typically start to decline at age 9 or 10. It's not the same for boys, and it continues to decrease through adolescence without intervention. And so instead of starting from scratch and deciding how can we help this problem, I am excited to be able to help expand our programming, which has been demonstrated to counteract that trend and reach more girls in the greater Boston area who can benefit from Girls on the Run's after school program.
So when you talk about the impact, can you be a little more specific about the impact of the Girls on the Run program on the girls you serve?
Yeah, so this national study was conducted because we're part of an organization that's headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in fact, 2 million girls have now done Girls on the Run across the country, which is really fun. I find in talking to people, it turns out everybody has a cousin or a niece or someone who did Girls on the Run and had a great experience. My own daughter did the program and she was really transformed. 97% of participants in the study learned how to manage emotions, resolve conflict, and make better intentional decisions. The girls who were the least active at the start of the season increased their physical activity level by 40% from pre to post, and that was in contrast with a control group. So we are committed to bringing the program to as many girls as we can on the East Coast of Massachusetts. We've served 8,500 so far, but there were many more who could benefit, and that's where the Women's Foundation grant comes in.
So tell us specifically about the Girls on the Run in the City program.
Yes, so we were growing quickly in many communities, sort of Metro West Boston area and North Shore, and we weren't reaching girls who we knew could benefit in the city of Boston. So what the grant Girls on the Run in the City enabled us to do was actively go to Boston Public Schools, talk with principals about how the program works to support girls' social emotional health as well as their physical health, and offer that the charitable dollars from the Women's Foundation would cover the program cost for the girls at these schools. And we were excited that the response was very positive, and we were able to launch the program in 2021 and reach 5 teams of girls in the spring and another 5 teams in the fall for 10 teams of girls who otherwise would never have had the chance to experience the program.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit more about the program and the coaches and how the cost of coaches and how all that works?
Sure. So girls meet twice a week after school with the coaches, and the coaches are trained by Girls on the Run in a national coach training format to ensure the program is well run and that the girls will have the same outcomes as the girls in the study did. So when you look for coaches, it's sometimes difficult because people mean well, but they don't have time to dedicate. And especially at the Girls on the Run in the city schools, we really wanted to have teachers who knew the girls, able to coach the program. And so the grant included money that the schools could use for stipends to compensate the teachers, school counselors, staff. We had a family liaison step up to get trained and lead the girls through the program. We supplemented with community volunteers, but the coaches that were stipended truly did an amazing job of bringing the curriculum to life. They met with the girls every week, and the curriculum has a theme to it every session. There's one of my favorites, just to bring it to life, Christina, is positive self-talk. You know, when the girls are practicing their running, they're trying to increase their stamina and they might feel down, and there are games in the curriculum where they boost each other up and learn how to give themselves positive self-talk to keep going. So they all cross the finish line. You can see in my virtual background, we bring the girls together from all the different communities for the 5K at the end of each season, and everyone crosses the finish at their own pace.
I'm so grateful for your work. Thank you so much, Olivia, for joining us, because I know how busy you are. And thank you for empowering thousands and thousands of girls in our community through this awesome program and curriculum. We're just so thrilled to have you highlighted on our program today. So thank you.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you to the Women's Foundation. At Girls on the Run Greater Boston, we're very appreciative of the partnership and the support.
Okay, well, Olivia talks really fast, but not that fast. So I think we had some technical problems, or else it was going quickly for me. But I'm so glad that she was able to share. And Chandra had the opportunity to meet Natasha Gordon, one of the wonderful coaches of Girls on the Run Greater Boston, and Tatiana, one of her team members, who is in 3rd grade.
Hi, I'm excited to talk to Tatiana, who participates in the Girls on the Run in the City program, which is funded by the Women's Foundation of Boston and her coach, Natasha Gordon. Welcome, Natasha and Tatiana. Natasha, I understand that you are a teacher in the Boston Public Schools. Tell us why you got involved in coaching at Girls on the Run Greater Boston.
I initially got involved with Girls on the Run Greater Boston just simply because its mission and vision, which is to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident, using their curriculum and integrating running. So as a teacher, I just saw like how impactful that the curriculum could be and this opportunity for students to be able to connect with other students cross grade level and to also have that added component of the physical movement.
How do you see your participation in Girls on the Run Greater Boston making a difference in the lives of the girls that you coach?
I can see my participation having an impact or making a difference in the lives of the girls I coach in a few different ways. So one, just being a teacher in the school in which I coach, I'm able to be a trusted adult or another trusted adult in the lives of the girls in which I coach. So some of the girls I've taught before 3 or 4 years ago, and then some of the girls I'm meeting for the first time through the program. So them being able to come to me, stop me in the hallway and just share, you know, how they're doing, how they've been applying lessons, or during practice for them to have a time to connect with an adult and talk about some things that have been going on with them. And then another way is just through introducing a new activity to some of the girls, or helping those who are very physically active or already do like to run, helping them improve their current performance. And also having them invite family members and incorporate others into this new passion that they have found. And then finally, through the program, I'm just able to teach them lifelong skills that they're able to use. So just modeling through the curriculum, like conflict resolution, how to make friends, how to keep friends, how to be confident and show their confidence and kind of share their light and spread their light with others.
Thank you, Natasha. Tatiana, tell us about yourself. How old are you and where are you from?
My name is Tatiana. I like to sing and I am 9 years old and I am from here in Boston.
How did you get involved in Girls on the Run Greater Boston?
I heard it from Miss Gordon and she asked me if I would like to join and I said yes.
Were you always a runner?
I was not always a runner.
What do you like best about Girls on the Run Greater Boston?
The fact that we get to challenge each other on how many laps we do in how much time.
What do you tell your friends about your experience at Girls on the Run Greater Boston?
That it's not only a place for running, but it's also a place to connect with a lot of other girls and make a very strong friendship.
Do you think you will continue to keep running?
I will.
What are your long-term goals?
To stay in school and further my education.
Tatiana and Natasha, it has been a pleasure to meet both of you and hear about your experiences with Girls on the Run Greater Boston. You both are an inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
Wow, Tatiana, keep running. That's awesome. Wow, impressive. And she's so inspiring and clearly has an amazing mentor in Natasha. So bravo to Girls on the Run Greater Boston for putting forth this amazing programming. And now, last one, we're going to meet Girlstart Executive Director, Beverly Hamilton. So we have one more amazing grantee partner that we'd like to highlight today, Girlstart. And we have with us Beverly Hamilton, who is the interim executive director of Girlstart, who's been in this space, in the nonprofit space for over 20 years. And Girlstart is an Austin, Texas-based nonprofit, which offers extracurricular STEM activities and summer camps for girls. They have been in the Boston area just for a few years, and we're excited to fund the expansion of this with a one-year grant for their summer week-long tech camp in Lowell, and after school STEM clubs for 4th and 5th graders at 2 schools in Waltham. So we're excited to have Beverly here with us to tell us more about Girlstart. So welcome, Beverly. And can you quickly tell us about Girlstart, how it came about, and Girlstart serving girls in Greater Boston, how that came about?
Absolutely. So we are a Central Texas-based nonprofit, but we have a national presence. And so we're from the Bay Area to Boston, and we're happy to be serving the schools and learning the community for the last couple of years. But we're really wanting to continue to grow. The need is there, and as you said, Girlstart does year-round STEM out-of-school programming specifically for girls. And we reach 4th, 5th, all the way to middle school with our camps. And, it's an important time to get those girls engaged in STEM.
Excellent. So why is STEM education so important for girls, Beverly?
Absolutely. Well, the numbers are really sad in terms of the percentage of women in STEM careers, in STEM fields. So only 28% of the STEM workforce is women. The higher up in leadership you go, the lower those numbers are. And we really want to combat that. We want to start super early and provide appropriate role models, as well as empowerment and confidence around those STEM activities and STEM fields.
Excellent. So how exactly does the Women's Foundation of Boston's grant impact the girls participating in Girlstart programs?
Sure. Well, the 2 schools where we have after school, and then the 2 camps are, directly funded. So, 100 girls getting exposed to STEM education that wouldn't otherwise. And then in 2022, we will be upping to 3 schools and 3 camps. And so then getting closer to, 150, 175 girls. And because we plan to continue to grow, those numbers will likely be close to doubled within 3 or 4 years. It can't be understated how important it is for the Women's Foundation of Boston support, to have the STEM crew who work directly with the students, right? Those are paid college students who get high levels of training so that then they can execute the different activities, right? STEM supplies, those are all things that you all are helping support. And, Girlstart participants, 85% of them report the following, that, if I try hard, I can be good at science, that they want to go to college, that if they do well in STEM classes, then they're more likely to go to college and more likely to get a better job. So it's not just the STEM, curriculum that we work really hard and are proud of. It's also a lot of the social emotional learning of confidence, empowerment, that make our programs, continue to be important. And so we're super thankful for the Women's Foundation of Boston for their support, directly helping these girls in their future aspirations.
Well, thank you, Beverly. Yeah, we're excited to be, this is totally in our wheelhouse. We're excited to be part of the support of your amazing programs at Girlstart in the STEM space. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Chandra also had the chance to talk with Alicia, a remarkable and accomplished alum of Girlstart.
Hi, I'm excited to introduce you to Alicia. Alicia is a Girlstart alum. Welcome, Alicia, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up here in Austin, Texas. I went to New York City at Columbia University for undergrad, where I majored in environmental science and math. And then I went to law school at Duke before I moved back to Austin. And I now practice environmental law for a law firm here in Austin.
Wow. So what a journey you've had. How long do you participate in Girlstart's program?
So I started at Girlstart as a camper in 4th grade. I did that through 4th through 8th grade. And then after that, I interned when I was in high school over my summers. And then now I serve on their board.
Now, how did you get involved with Girlstart?
So I got involved originally back when I was younger. Girlstart was just starting out and they were going to different companies, one of which was IBM. My parents worked there at the time. And my mom was an engineer and was like, this is such a cool organization. It's getting young women involved in STEM. That's so important. So she signed me up for summer camp and I loved it. And so then I continued to go every summer after that I could.
So why did you think it was important to stay involved and serve as an intern at Girlstart?
So I had a really great time during my summers at Girlstart. I really enjoyed what I was learning and it really cemented my interest in STEM. And when I was in school, of course, I was still young, but I realized pretty early on that I was one of the few women pursuing science and math and technology in my school. And I realized that Girlstart had a lot to do with that. It made me a lot more confident in those classes. It made me a lot more interested in those classes. And I realized how important that is for young women to be encouraged in those fields. And so I wanted to intern there so that I could get a chance to kind of give back and help other young women who are like me and maybe a little bit nervous or didn't really know what STEM was, to help them figure out what it was and, you know, see if they liked it or not.
So what do you like about STEM?
So I personally have always really liked STEM because usually there's a right answer. It's a problem solving element that I really enjoy. And ultimately I thought that, you know, it's of course very challenging, as many subjects are, but I liked the satisfaction of being able to get a problem and have an answer and have it be right. To me, math was really clear and I really liked that and enjoyed that part of STEM fields.
So how has Girlstart impacted your life?
It really originates from just giving me a lot of self-confidence that maybe I wouldn't have had at that age. Like I said, I was one of the few young women pursuing STEM in my school. I was in these advanced math and science classes, and there were very few other young women in those courses. And I think that can be really intimidating. But for me, because I'd had this experience at Girlstart, I felt really confident in my classes and I knew that I liked this and I was good at it and then that I could continue to do it. And so that's largely to do with Girlstart. And as I continued on in my undergrad, I was again in STEM. And there were many times where I was one of few women in my courses and I never really felt like it was weird. It just was how it was. And I knew that I could do it and I deserved to be there. And that kind of self-confidence, even from a young age, I think is one of the biggest gifts Girlstart has given me.
Yes, yes. And you clearly love Girlstart. Well, Alicia, it's been such a joy and an honor to interview you today. And thank you for the ways that you are inspiring other women and young women and the way that you're giving back to the community.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Wow. Alicia is an amazing example of how exposure to STEM can truly change your girl's trajectory. I really love her confidence. I'm excited that we have live with us right now the amazing leaders from all three organizations. Welcome, Deb, Olivia, and Beverly. You all can unmute and turn your videos on. Great. Hello.
Hi, Christina.
Great to see y'all. I'd like to open it up to questions. So please put any questions you have in the Q&A box and we will get to as many as possible in the next 5-10 minutes. The first question actually is for Deb from Big Sister Boston. So Deb, how do you want to grow Our Big Futures program and what are the challenges you anticipate going forward? Oh, we can't hear you, Deb. Oh, no, we can't hear Deb. I don't know what's happening. You're muted. Maybe we'll figure that. We'll go to Beverly and we'll wait for Deb. I don't know. What are your plans, Beverly, to serve more girls in the greater Boston area?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm not able to put my video on for some reason, but happy to chat about it. I was fiddling with it. So, oh, let's see, I just got a button.
There you go.
Yay, very good. Okay, so to be sure that I have your question right, you were asking about our plans for the future in Boston?
Yeah, what are your what are your
Yeah,
plans to serve more girls in the greater Boston area?
Exactly. Well, we're so excited. We will be having 4 camps this summer. And every year, as we are building relationships with the school districts and other nonprofits in the area who have sort of like-minded support of girls in STEM, we'll be adding on additional after-school programs and camps. So the idea would be in the next 3 years that we will, double and get closer to 300 to 400 girls directly served with those programs. We also do community STEM events. So those are for the larger public to get the whole family and otherwise whole communities engaged in STEM activities, either at schools or we partner with the Boston Children's Museum, Boys and Girls Club. There's lots of organizations that we hope to, expand out the STEM education bubble in the greater Boston area.
Awesome. Thank you. Olivia, how about you? Do you plan to expand the Girls on the Run in the City program? And how many more girls would you like to reach in the next couple of years?
Yes, Christina, similar to Beverly, we have ambitious goals to grow. We know there are so many more girls who can benefit, and we would like to serve 360 additional girls with Girls on the Run in the City and expand it beyond Boston. So there are other high need communities in the Boston area, as many of the people watching know. We have had one school, for example, in Lawrence, where it's been great, one school in Brockton, but we'd like to expand and are working to bring the program to more high need communities outside of Boston as well.
Well, that dovetails with our strategic focus too. We are trying to pushing out into the gateway cities, including Lowell, Lawrence, Worcester, because there's a lot of work out. There's a lot of women and girls out there, and there's not a lot of programming. So we're looking at that as a strategic focus as well. Let's see, Deb, can we hear you?
Not yet.
Oh, we can't hear Deb. That's so sad.
Maybe you can call.
Maybe.
Patch you in. There was a Q&A. I don't know if we want to maybe address that while we wait for that.
I have a few more questions that came in. Is funding a challenge for your programming? Both, all of you, is funding a challenge for your programming right now? And has it gotten more challenging since COVID? Could you just give us a little color on that? I guess Olivia and then Beverly.
Sure. I think, Christina, it's really a matter of how many girls you want to serve. So we have found that the more girls we want to serve, the more funding we need to grow. As I said in the interview, the schools in Boston and high need schools really need you to come with funding in order to launch a new program. They don't have extra money in the budget. I see Beverly nodding. It's really exciting to be able to have funding from the Women's Foundation that allows us to bring programs to more schools. So we're finding that once we get a grant, the need is there, the schools are ready and willing, the girls can benefit. So it's we're on a good trajectory and hoping to continue that way. We have a road to 5,000 girls, and by 2026, we'd like to be serving 5,000 annually. And we know it can be done because Chicago and Minnesota Girls on the Run chapters have done it. So we'd like to get there.
Awesome. Deb, are you on?
I really hope so now, right?
Okay, so for Deb, how do you want to grow the Our Big Futures program, and what are the challenges you anticipate going forward?
Sure. As I mentioned, you funded a coach for girls wanting to go to college. So Valeria talked about that. She wants to go for child development. So that coach is going to work with her on, scholarships, application, the whole process of, she's first generation going to college. So
that is what she's focused on, the person that you funded in that position. But what we would like is to have one not just for college, but for vocational and career, because these are very specific journeys that these girls will take. And it requires partnerships, so that we're not doing it all ourselves. We're partnering with colleges, we're partnering with companies, we're partnering with people like other nonprofits that are focused on financial aid, focused on scholarships. So it's really important that we'd love to have one person for each. And we know that's significant growth, though, to have 3 coaches, one focused on each, and then have the director really focused on partnerships and ensuring that those partnerships remain strong, that we're stewarding them and we're nurturing them. And then when you get to funding, I think we've all experienced that during the pandemic, a lot of the money, understandably so, went to food insecurity and to affordable to housing, the homelessness, and all those issues that really were exacerbated and amplified during the pandemic. So for us now, it's really getting back out there, as hard as it is, to talk about the importance of the work that we do. And I heard from we all said the same thing, or you two really said it, about confidence and building that girl's confidence in whether it's running, whether it's STEM, so that they internalize that confidence, so that they can, when they make decisions, they feel confident going forward, and they can take, educated risks. But I think that's what we're all doing, and just thinking about that, internalizing the confidence for those girls.
Thank you, Deb. So we have a question that came in from somebody from our advisory council, which I thought was an interesting question. What about working also with the moms of these girls? Do you think about that, about trying to set up a program for the moms? And I don't know. I mean, that was a good question. I thought it was a compelling question.
I think it is too. And I'll just quickly say it. I think it's an awesome question. And what we have seen is that the moms, when they see their daughters taking chances, doing things, they want that for themselves too. And we want that. I had a call once from a mom said, Deb, guess where I am right now? I said, where are you, Sharon? She said, I'm on the top of a ski slope, because her daughter went skiing. And so she wants to do that. So in the same way, and I'll stop, that they, whether it's college, vocational, whatever it is, running, I could see that definitely happening. So.
Olivia or Beverly?
We
have about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I was going to quickly add to what Deb said, that one of the moms told us that the lesson the girls learn, where you say to yourself, I am stronger than I think I am, she applied to herself, because she broke her foot and she was in the hospital and she was terrified. And she said, I remember in Girls on the Run, my girl came home and said, I'm stronger than I think I am. And so the lessons do translate to the moms indirectly. But we don't, to answer the question, it's food for thought. We don't currently have that in place. And I don't know about Beverly.
Yeah, well, we email the parents because they have to, register with us and get approvals and all those sorts of things. And so they see what the girls are working on. But that's also why we have sort of the third pillar of our community STEM events, so that, not only can girls participate who are in our other programs at these community events, but they can share that with their families. And so they can see the power of experimenting and trying and building together, and, being sort of curious and brave. So, but yeah, 2-generation programs can be very powerful, but they also take all those additional, hard fought resources that we're chatting about. So.
So we are out of time, but I really want to thank you, Deb and Olivia and Beverly, for taking the time to be with us today, but also for doing this incredibly important work. Only 1.9% of all philanthropic giving is directed towards your type of organizations in our country. And of that, 40% is sent overseas. So we are just in awe of you being able to pull off what you do. So thank you to all. And also, thank you to all of our generous donors and our dedicated volunteers. For last check, we had about 120 to 130 volunteers for your incredible support for our critical work at the Women's Foundation of Boston. We hope you learned a lot today about the impact and importance of your financial and volunteer support. Seriously, without all of you, honestly, few, if any of these grants would have been a reality. We hope to see you all again soon. We have our inaugural event, Make Her Mark, on November 3rd at the Museum of Science. It will be a fantastic evening with more information to come, so stay tuned, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Christina.